I've been called many things in my life. I've been told I wasn't smart enough. I've been told I wasn't good enough. And tonight, his voice paused heavy, I was told I don't belong here. Gasps rippled across the room. People stiffened, eyes darting toward the family table. The very words they thought would stay hidden in whispers had just been dragged into the spotlight. Darius's tone sharpened, but it didn't rise. It stayed calm, powerful, deliberate. But let me tell you something. I didn't get here by accident. I didn't stumble into this room by mistake. I stand here because I earned it. Every step I've taken, every wall I've climbed, every hand that tried to push me down only made me rise higher. The smirks began to fade. The chuckles died. A quiet tension spread through the room as if the walls themselves leaned closer to listen. Eliza's mother blinked hard, her fork frozen mid-air. One of her brothers shifted, uncomfortable, like the floor had suddenly grown hot under his chair. But Darius pressed on. When I was 12 years old, a teacher told me kids like me don't make it far. When I was 16, a police officer told me I'd probably end up in jail before I turned 21. And when I was 25, a boss told me I should lower my expectations, that I wasn't management material. He paused, his eyes steady, his voice cutting sharper than glass. But here I am, a man who didn't listen. A man who worked harder, who stayed longer, who refused to let anyone else define his story. Eliza's eyes brimmed with tears, her hands clasped at her chest. Then Darius turned, looking directly at the ones who had laughed earlier. And for those of you wondering who I am, let me introduce myself properly. My name is Darius Johnson. I am a software engineer at one of the leading tech firms in the country. I manage a team of 20 brilliant people who trust me to lead them every single day. I bought my first home before I turned 30. I take care of my family. And most importantly, he turned toward Eliza now, his voice softening yet growing stronger. Most importantly, I am the man your daughter, your niece, your cousin chose to spend the rest of her life with. And she didn't choose me out of pity. She chose me because she knows my worth, even when you pretend not to see it. The room erupted in a stunned silence. Forks clinked nervously against plates. The air felt heavy, like the walls were closing in on those who had dared to mock him. Eliza's father, who had stayed quiet until now, shifted in his seat, his lips pressed tight. His pride and prejudice battled behind his eyes. But Darius wasn't finished. He leaned closer to the mic, his tone dropping low, intimate, unshakable. You said I don't belong here. But let me make something clear. I don't just belong here. I own my place here. Because belonging isn't something you give me. It's something I take with dignity, with resilience, with love that cannot be shaken. The room froze. Even the waitstaff paused in their steps, caught by the gravity of his words. And then Darius did something no one expected.